welcome to a brand new podcast. My name is Drysen, and this is Drysen Learns Things. And it seems fitting that if we're going to try a new podcast, I should start with interviewing my boss, Matt Vojacek from Made by Things.
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's going. So the point of today is to dive deep into one specific marketing thing that Made by Things as a studio has done. And so we want to talk about the Things by Things marketing effort. So with that said, why don't you introduce who you are, what is Made by Things, and what is Things by Things?
Like you said, my name is Matt Vojacek, creative director, founder of Made by Things. And, really getting into, we get a bunch of different ideas all the time, right? Like we are a company that helps other people with their marketing efforts, but every so often we kind of need to drink our own medicine, right? And really push what we do when it comes to marketing. And really just constantly trying things and trying to find ways to find our unique position in the market, basically. And over the years, we've done many weird things. Like I've gone as far as auctioning off a completed work that we've done that ended weirdly with a client that kind of ghosted us for the last half of a project. And I don't know. Whenever I have an idea on something, I'm like, all right, let's just try it and see what happens. So a couple of years ago.
So out of the sake of just trying new things, this is where Things by Things kind of came from.
Right. And I guess the story kind of really starts right after COVID, or right during COVID. Once that started, we saw an immediate drop in a lot of the work that was, or a lot of the project requests that we were getting. And it was probably a couple months into it, and I'm like, okay, well, now we don't have an office anymore, and I have all of our photo stuff here. Right before we left our office, we started messing around with some stop motion stuff. And I was like, all right, well, what if we make this program where people can sort of sign up for spots in a week-long schedule for us, and for 1 week, we just do nothing but create stop motion animation. I would shoot it, and then I'd send it over to Colin to do all the editing and sound design at that point. And they're 15, 30-second clips. And we had a set price on them, and basically I launched this out, hoping that maybe we would get 3 or 4 people signing up for it. And we booked about 20 people in 1 week. So I was like, okay, we are officially back in business, right? We have a crazy busy week now. Let's figure this out. Got through it, ended up running it again, probably a month and a half later, but this time with the name of Stop Motion Thing. And pretty similar results at that time. Basically, we set this stuff at a price point that was just really too hard for anyone to. Yeah, exactly. So it was and that was kind of part of the deal. Is what's the bare minimum that we can charge something for and still operate a business, right?
Yeah.
And especially again, if we were able to do 4 in a day, the deal was okay. It's basically our day rate divided by 4, and if we can get people to pay just that, then we were good, right?
So I imagine this has to be a highly templatized, you're not getting a lot of customization on this.
No. So for that, it was you send us your product. We'll have I think I said 5 to 10 minute phone call initially. And I'll listen to what you're saying, but it's very freestyle, no plan, no storyboards. We just go into it and let's just do it. Right. So, we did that for a little while. It started to do really well. The problem became, okay, I can't do all this stuff myself. And we were still during COVID, and I just didn't feel like it was a good idea to get a whole studio of people together to do this. So it sort of fizzled out in a way. But over the years, we've done a bunch of stop motion stuff since then. But beginning of this year, I felt like we were starting to hit another little bit of a rut. I think especially as soon as January 1st hit, we saw another little bit of a decline in project requests. So in my head, I was like, let's go back to the formula that works here, right? And I made a site called Stop Motion Thing, and it was basically the same offer but just a little refined. And I was like, let's do that, right? And pretty much the moment that I hit launch on this website, I was like, we can do more than this. Like, what if we like had a bunch of like things that we're sort of offering, and as long as we can contain the deliverables in it, then the idea is that we can work with people to do a number of different things, right?
So Made by Things being this, it's made, I know Made by Things as a studio, they're very intentional about making sure that they can use a budget and maximizing the return on value for that budget. But if that's a premium budget up here where it's regularly to work with you, this is almost like the trial sample size to get a taste of what it's like working with a big studio.
Right. I guess that's the thing, is that like, typically we're working with a little bit larger companies. Usually like, I don't know, the revenue really ranges. Sometimes I'd say most of them are between 10 and 50 million a year is what they're bringing in.
Yeah.
And I love working with smaller companies. The passion that you have when you talk to somebody that's like, yes, I am the founder and I'm the marketing department and I'm HR.
Let me put this hat on, then this hat.
Right. There's just something special about that, and helping people build something really early on. And we've just always been out of the range for stuff like that, usually. So that was kind of another part of it, was it's like, all right, we can do things for less, but we need to have a very, very, very specific outcome or set of deliverables for whatever we do. So I ended up asking the whole team, like, okay, if you had to choose like 3 things that you could do within 2 business days, like what could you do, right? Like, of looking back at all the projects that we've done before, let's try to put a list together of, like, again, for us specifically, 2 days. That's generally what we're trying to do. Now, some things take a little bit more and some things maybe a little bit less. I would say more often on the higher side, though. So we basically put this list together and we tried to include at least, I think we did 3 things per person, really.
Yeah.
And we got to a list of 2 or 3 things per person. We got to a list of about 20 different items. So it's like, all right, here are 20 like products, air quotes, that we could deliver within a set 30-day period of time. Like, yeah, it might take us 2 days, like, consistently, but these are lower budget things.
Yeah.
It's not, it wouldn't be good for somebody in like a rush turnaround or anything like that.
So because we are running out of time, because we got that hard 10-minute conversation, which is the fun part of this conversation piece. I'm curious, Things by Things to lead and introduce people to Made by Things, did it work?
Yeah. So once we put it all together, we basically got the whole team together in 1 week, built a site, built all the products, launched an e-commerce site. Initially, not anything. I mean, a lot of people were interested, saying it was a great idea and everything, which was pretty cool. But we had probably two to 4 clients that sort of popped up from that. And we kind of work with 2 of them in a little bit of a different way, but it was really cool to be able to at least have that as a jumping off point, and then converting that into, okay, how do we need to kind of work through this relationship? And it ended up turning into ongoing work that we do with a couple of our partners. So yes, it worked.
So you have a product you can actually sell, you can work, it becomes your marketing effort to introduce people to the rest of Made by Things. That's a really cool strategy. And that is our time for today, though. So super quick conversation. Today's episode is brought to you by the Discovery Workshop via Made by Things. So Matt, I want to say thank you for being on the show, and thank you for being my test subject for episode 01.
You bet, man. Thank you.
Yep. Talk to you later. Drysen Learns Things is brought to you by the Discovery Workshop from Made by Things. If you are looking for a content partner to help you brainstorm, set goals, and create content that truly resonates with your audience, check us out at madebythings.com/discovery.